There was never a time when humans accepted death without a fight. Long before cities existed, someone stared at a lifeless body. They asked a question no animal could answer. What happens now? That single question has haunted humanity for tens of thousands of years. Every civilization answered it differently. None escaped it. Some imagined another world. Others searched for a way to stay in this one. The dream never disappeared. It only changed shape. Today we build cryogenic chambers. Ancient kings built pyramids. The goal remained exactly the same. Do not disappear. Archaeologists have discovered intentional human burials dating back at least 100,000 years. Sites like Kafsa Cave in present-day Israel reveal skeletons carefully placed with objects and red ochre. The dead were not abandoned. They were remembered. Nobody knows exactly what those early people believed. But the evidence suggests something extraordinary. Death had become more than a biological event. It had become an idea. Ideas survive longer than bodies. That may have been humanity's first taste of immortality. The anthropologist Ernest Becker believed this fear shaped nearly everything humans created. In 1973, he published The Denial of Death. His argument was unsettling. Human civilization is built partly to escape the knowledge that we will die. Our careers, our families, our monuments, our religions, our nations. Each promises that some part of us continues. Even our names become small attempts to outlive ourselves. Could an entire civilization grow from one impossible fear? Psychologists began testing Becker's ideas decades later. Researchers Sheldon Solomon, Jeff Greenberg, and Tom Piszczynski developed terror management theory. Their experiments produced surprising results. When people are reminded of death, they often become more protective of their beliefs. They defend their culture more strongly. They value symbols of permanence. They seek meaning. Death changes behavior long before it arrives. Your brain constantly balances two conflicting realities. One part knows life is temporary. Another part behaves as though tomorrow is guaranteed. Without that balance, ordinary life would become almost impossible. Imagine waking every morning fully aware that your existence is incredibly fragile. Planning would feel meaningless. Love would feel terrifying. Hope might disappear. Instead, your brain quietly softens the truth. It lets you live as though time is plentiful. That illusion may be one of evolution's greatest gifts. But humans refused to stop there. They searched for permanence outside the mind. Around 2600 BC, enormous stone structures began rising above the Egyptian desert. The pyramids were not simply tombs. They were machines for eternity. The ancient Egyptians believed preserving the body helped preserve the soul. Mummification became an extraordinary science. Organs were carefully removed. Bodies were dried with natron salt. Layers of linen wrapped every limb. Priests performed sacred rituals with astonishing precision. Each step challenged the same enemy: decay. Thousands of years later, many mummies remain astonishingly intact. Their builders succeeded in preserving flesh. But was that the immortality they wanted? Or was the body only a symbol of something greater? The same question appeared across the world. Ancient Chinese emperors searched for elixirs promising eternal life. Some consumed mercury mixtures that slowly poisoned them. Ironically, the pursuit of immortality often accelerated death. In ancient Mesopotamia, a king named Gilgamesh searched desperately for everlasting life. His journey became one of humanity's oldest surviving stories. He crossed oceans. He faced impossible trials. He finally discovered a painful truth. Death could not be defeated. Only remembered. Why would nearly every civilization invent stories about eternal life? Perhaps because every human brain eventually reaches the same frightening conclusion. One day, everything ends. Or does it? Modern science asks that question differently. Instead of magic, researchers study cells. Instead of myths, they study DNA. Instead of gods, they study biology. And surprisingly, biology contains its own mysteries. Every time your cells divide, tiny protective caps called telomeres become shorter. In the 1970s, researchers including Elizabeth Blackburn began uncovering how these structures influence aging. Eventually, cells stop dividing normally. Damage accumulates. Organs weaken. Hair turns gray. Skin changes. The body slowly remembers time. But some cells behave differently. Certain stem cells and cancer cells activate an enzyme called telomerase. It rebuilds those protective caps. In a sense, those cells postpone aging. Scientists immediately recognized the possibility. Could humans someday control this process? Could aging itself become treatable? The question no longer belonged only to philosophers. It entered the laboratory. And for the first time in history, immortality began to sound less like mythology and more like engineering. Engineering, however, creates problems that myths never had to solve. Living forever sounds simple. Until you ask what forever actually means. Imagine never growing old. Now imagine watching everyone else grow old instead. Children. Friends. Parents. Entire civilizations. Would eternal life still feel like a gift? Or would it slowly become another kind of prison? These questions have become surprisingly practical. Modern laboratories are no longer asking whether aging exists. They are asking whether aging can be slowed. One scientist helped change that conversation. In the 1960s, Leonard Hayflick discovered that normal human cells cannot divide forever. Most stop after roughly 40 to 60 divisions. This became known as the Hayflick limit. For decades, scientists believed this limit was unavoidable. Then biology became more complicated. Researchers began finding animals that seemed to ignore many rules of aging. One tiny jellyfish shocked the scientific world. Turritopsis dohrnii has an extraordinary ability. After reaching adulthood, it can transform itself back into an earlier life stage. Instead of moving only forward through life, it can restart its own biological clock. It is not truly impossible to kill. Predators still eat it. Disease still affects it. But aging alone does not necessarily end its life. Nature had already invented something humans only dreamed about. The question suddenly changed. If evolution discovered one solution, could it discover another? Scientists started looking everywhere. Some turtles survive for more than a century. Certain whales live over 200 years. The Greenland shark may survive for nearly 400 years. Some deep-sea sponges appear even older. Life has experimented with longevity for hundreds of millions of years. Humans are simply another experiment. Perhaps not the final one. Researchers also discovered creatures that repair DNA with astonishing efficiency. Others replace damaged organs. Some regrow entire limbs. The animal kingdom became a living library of biological possibilities. Meanwhile, another revolution was beginning. Computers. Artificial intelligence. And enormous amounts of biological data. Companies invested billions. Universities opened specialized aging laboratories. The impossible slowly entered scientific conversation. Not eternal life. Longer healthy life. There is an important difference. Researchers rarely use the word immortality for 68.